Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'll be showing you how to create this greenhouse cottage. This cozy build is surprisingly easy to create, so let's get building. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Here is the outline for today's build. You can see that the house section of the build is 7 blocks wide and 15 blocks long, with the 7 block wide section off to one side. Then for the greenhouse, we just have some points marked in. These are 3 blocks apart, and then for these sections over here, we've got 2 blocks separating them on the diagonal. All of these blocks will be covered over in our building, so you can put in an outline like this to help you create this build. We're going to begin our build by putting in some 5 high posts using some spruce logs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm placing these at each of the corners of the main part of the house, as well as these corners here and here. And then along this large wall, I'm going to place them 3 in from either side. Just like that. Now I'm going to connect up all of these posts using some mossy stone brick and regular stone brick. It's up to you how much of each block you use, but you just want to aim for a natural distribution. There we go, we're all the way around the build here, and you can see I've left the 2 doorways clear. Now we're going to place in some glass for our windows. I'm using glass blocks here, as we're going to be creating window frames on the exterior of the build. So we have a 3x3 window like this on the front and on the back. And I'm using some green stained glass here as well. I have a 2 high window in this gap, just like that. Over on this side, I'm going to put in my door, and then I'm going to use some yellow wool to place a stripped spruce log above the door. And I'll do that for this doorway as well. I then also want to place a window here, so I'm building up 2 high with my plain glass, and then placing 1 green stained glass in the center like that. Now we're going to move over to the greenhouse, and we're going to grab some stripped spruce logs, and I'm placing them along the base like this, going behind where we're going to build our posts. Then when we come to these corners, I'm going to place in some logs facing upright, and then I'll have 1 more row of the logs going across like this, so it should look like that from above. I'm then going to fill in this 3 wide section in between each of these posts, building up 6 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that. Continuing with the glass, I'm going to use some yellow wool as a placeholder block, and I'm going to use this to step my glass up 1 by 1 like this. So I want to go an additional 3 blocks up on each of these. 1, 2, and then 1 more. 3, and you should see that they should be 1 block apart. If you're enjoying today's tutorial, I'd really appreciate if you consider liking and subscribing. It really helps me out, and I'd love to have you part of my community. There we go, and I can break all of my placeholder blocks. You can use any kind of placeholder block you'd like. Dirt would work just fine. Next section I'm going to fill in with glass is this 3 wide section here. Once again, I'll start by building up 6 high. Then I'm going to place an extra block in the center like that. And using a placeholder block, I'll put in a U-shaped section of glass, like that. Lastly, we need to fill in these corners, so I'm going to start by building up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high in each corner, like that. Then back to fill in the corner itself, And then I'm going to fill in this little gap here with one block of glass. I'll also come down and build 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 4 on either side here. Now it's a little tricky to see the glass, but you get the general idea. Now we're going to define the shape of this greenhouse more with some spruce, but before we do that, let's add in the walls of their house. For this little section here, I'm going to be building up to the height of these posts using some spruce planks, going all the way around my window. Then for the rest of the build, I'll be using some smooth sandstone and regular sandstone. And the regular sandstone here is acting to bring some texture to the build. So I'll just be placing it in kind of random worn out looking spots like this. The distribution that you use here is entirely up to you. There we go, that's the walls for the first floor in. For the second story, we'll be working with some gables. Let's start with the spruce gable first. I'm going to place in 2 planks, and then I want to create a little decorative element using some stripped spruce logs. Then I'll just continue up my gable point, so it should look like this. Now for the 2 sandstone gables, I'm going to start by going across with 1 layer of sandstone. Then I want to add in a 2 high window, and then I want to continue up my pattern here, and I'm going up in groups of 2. So we've got our first group of 2. Now I'll have another grouping of 2. And another grouping of 2. Like that. And I'll do the same on the back side. First grouping of 2. Here we have another grouping of 2. And I'll finish with my final grouping. Like this. Next we're going to add in our floor. Now for the lower level of this build, I'm going to break out the grass and I'll be using some stripped dark oak logs. Now these have a great floorboard-like texture. You want to make sure all of your floorboards are facing the same direction. For a build like this where the room is quite long, I like to have my floorboards facing so that you can have as many this way rather than having them in this direction, flowing along the length of the house. You might also decide to break up the floor here by having the floor going the opposite direction in this part that sticks out. Like this. Then I'll switch to some spruce logs and I'm going to add in some beams, just connecting up all these posts. Then for the floor, I'm going to be using some spruce slabs and placing them at the level of the beams. I'll be using a ladder to access my attic space, but you could put in a staircase if you'd like. I'll also be coming to put my ladder in afterwards. There we go, we've got our 2 floors in. So now let's work on the chimneys and then the roof. For the chimneys, I'll be using a mixture of mossy and regular stone brick materials. And for the first chimney, I'm going to locate myself above this post here. So I'm just going to create a little 2x2 square to begin with. Just like that. Then I'll use a placeholder block and come 1 block back and create another 2x2 square. And I'm just randomizing the texture of the moss with the stone brick as I go. And I'll build up an extra 2 high here, like that, and put in some walls. I'm also going to have some walls at the front, like that. Now we want to start swooping our chimney outwards. So I'm going to place an extra block on top of here, then a stair underneath, and a stair on top, I'll then build up another 4 high. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm also going to add 2 stairs here and here. And at the top of the chimney, I'll add in a campfire and surround it with some spruce trapdoors. So here's how the first chimney should look. For the second chimney, I'm coming to the front of the build on this left-hand side, and once again I'm going to locate this post here. Starting like we did on the other chimney, I'll create a little 2x2 square, but I'm going to put an extra block here for this one. Then I'm going to create a 2x3 rectangle. Like that, sitting behind it. Now I want to create that same swoop, so I'll come forward, like this, and then build up 4 high. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go in with some walls. I've got a wall here, a wall here, 1 here, and then 2 here. 1, 2. And I'll place my campfire on top with some trapdoors. With those in place, we're ready to add the roof. We're going to work on the greenhouse side of the roof first, starting with some spruce planks running along the bottom here, and I'm using stairs. I'm going to extend them out 2 from the edge of the build. Then when I reach this point here on the chimney, I'm going to place my next stair curved inwards like this, and I'll do the same on the other side. You can see that this one here next to the glass is curved. Then I'll have some stripped spruce logs coming inwards next to the glass, and then I'll continue along with my stairs. Like that. Now we're going to focus on this section here where we're going to be behind the glass of the greenhouse. So I want to come back onto this part of the build here and find the center, so it should be 2 blocks in from either post, and I'm going to build up 2 high with spruce planks. And I'll do that to either side with some bricks. Then I'll just run all the way along, going to either side with some bricks 1 high, missing where the chimney is of course. And I'm also going to finish off with a spruce plank. I'll make sure I do that on both sides. So it should look like that. Now we're going to add in a layer of stairs, with the spruce finishing off the edge. There we go. And from here we're just going to work up in groupings of blocks and stairs till we reach the top, making sure we have our spruce on the edge, as well as in this little section here. And I'm just running straight behind the chimney here. Once you reach the top of this section, before you get into the very center of the roof, you can stop here. Now we want to rotate round and work on this other side of the roof. What we're going to be doing is connecting it up as we go, rotating around to the section that sticks out. And once again, I'm building 2 blocks out on this first layer with my spruce stairs. Then, like before, we're going to create a spruce edge on each of the gables and fill in with bricks. For this smaller gable, we'll be just using stairs. And you can see how I'm rotating them round to connect up with the other section of the roof. Now you can add in your spruce edge as you go or afterwards, it just is whatever suits your build style. I'm going to switch between both as I build, just as I see fit. I'm going to leave the center of this part of the roof for now and come and work on this side. And now I want to add a little swoop to this section. So I'll start with the spruce stair in the center, and you should see this should line up with the spruce we've got on the other side. Then I'll come over to here with slabs, placing a spruce plank, another spruce plank, and a spruce slab on top of that. You can see it swoops up. Then I'll just continue with my stairs and blocks for the rest of the roof. Ooh, but make sure you leave this section here for the spruce. So it should look like this. Now let's add the very center of this roof. I'm going to start on the end here, building 2 blocks across with some bricks. Then I'm going to build up 2 high with some spruce blocks, there and there, and place a slab on top. I'll then connect all of this up with some spruce planks. Place a plank here and a plank here, and then I'll go in with a couple of slabs. So there's how that swoop should look. To finish off the roof, I'm going to go in with some brick stairs and slabs and come underneath to finish off the edge. I'm also going to grab out some spruce logs and I'll face them forward there and there, and here and here. Like that, and on the other side. Like that. Next, it's time to start adding some details to the windows and to the greenhouse. I'm going to start by working on the windows. For these large windows on the sandstone part of the build, I'm starting with the log facing forward and some stairs on either side. Got some spruce slabs going across the bottom and end rods here. Now if you don't have end rods, you could use some chains. I'll then put 2 rows of spruce trapdoors on either side to create this framed window look. Like that. If you're looking for a server to play on with some really wonderful people, consider checking out my Patreon. It's the world where I design and film all of my tutorials, and there's 7 worlds for you to explore and enjoy with a great bunch of people. So there's those windows done. Now we'll do these smaller windows above. We're going with a similar style here. The wonderful thing about the end rods is they provide a little bit of illumination. There's that one done. We're going to leave this window here as we'll be adding some sandstone, but I do want to add a decoration to this window, and I'm going to use the same one we've got going on up here to keep some continuity throughout the build. Like that. While we're here, we'll add the decoration to this window. So I'm going across with some smooth sandstone slabs, and we're using sandstone here to bring a bit of brightness to this part of the build to match the sandstone we've got going on in the walls. But I want to keep the window design fairly similar, so you can see I'm creating the same window framed look using the trapdoors. So it should look like that. I'm also going to add a little canopy over the doorway, using some green and white wool. You can switch this out for whatever colour wool you'd like. So that should look like that. And continuing with the fences, I'm going to add them underneath each of these post points. Now I've got out all my spruce materials again, and we're going to work on this greenhouse. I'm going to start by building up 4 high, 1, 2, 3, 4, in all of these gaps here using some fences. Now we're going to work on the panels covering these 4 sides. I'll start by building forward with the spruce logs like this. Then I'll build up 3 high, 1, 2, 3. I'll do one side and then I'll come back and do that other side there. Then I'm going to come inwards using some spruce stairs, like that. And on top I'm going to place some stairs going backwards like this. Now I'll switch to some stripped spruce logs. I'm placing one on top of each of these stairs and then coming backwards from these stairs. So it should fill in those gaps. I'll then grab some more stairs to create little archways. And I'll use some slabs for the points. Like that. Then I'll come down to the bottom of these sections and fill this in with some planks. I'll then build up 3 high with some spruce fences and use some trapdoors to create a little bit of separation and design to the windows like that. I'm going to create the same design on the other side now. Alright, with these in place, let's connecting this roof line. So I'm going to start by placing a strip spruce log on top of each of these strip spruce logs. And I'm going to work on both sides at the same time here. They're just a mirror image of one another. Then I'll place some stairs on top of these and some stairs facing inwards. I'm going to place a placeholder block on top of each of these stairs now. So that way I can place another upside down stair. I'll then break all of those and replace them with a slab. Next up, I'm going to come on top of here and place in a slab coming back and up. And at the 2 ends, I'm going to add in a block. For the center, I'll connect it up using some stripped spruce logs. So it should look like this. Now I want to work on the end of this greenhouse. I'm going to start off the design for this flat face the same as we have on the sides of the builds. So I've got my logs, got my fences, my little archway. So it should look like that. Now we want to connect these sections up, so I'll place a log on top of here and here, and then I'm going to use some stairs. As well as a slab here and here. So that's that flat face done. Now we need to do these 2 corners. I'm going to place in some spruce planks. And some stairs. These stairs are going here and then facing inwards like that. And then I'm also going to place a slab in the corner. Then I'm going to build up 1, 2, 3, 4 with my fences. And on top of each of those, I'll add in a spruce trapdoor. Next we have to connect this end to the roof. So I'm going to add 3 glass across here, 1, 2, 3, and then just some stairs. Just like that. We also have a few more details to add to these faces. I'm going to come forward with some slabs like this and place in a trapdoor underneath on either side like that. Once I've got those sections in, I'm going to add in upside down stairs with a slab on top, or rather a trapdoor. And you can see I won't be able to place one here as we've got a stair in already. I'm going to rotate round and do the same thing to this section. So it should look like that, and to the other side. There we go. I also want to place some slabs on top. I'm placing these 1 block apart. Continuing with these spruce trapdoors, I want to add in some planters, and I'm using coarse dirt, but you could use rooted dirt or even podzol if you wanted to plant some mushrooms. Now I'm placing these in groupings of 1 and 2, just kind of dotted around the base of the build. These aren't placed evenly, which gives a little extra charm. There we go. Now it's time to add some finishing details like greenery and decorate. I'm just finishing adding in some decorations now, and let's have a look at how I've done the exterior of this build. So since this cottage is attached to a greenhouse, I wanted a really natural feel, so I've done lots of planting. I think it's really important when creating a build to have a suitable pathway. If you'd like some ideas, some pathways for your builds, make sure you check out the tutorial below. Here I've used this really lush looking pathway with lots of greens and natural tones, and I've got it swooping around from the doorway off into the forest. I've used some spruce to decorate around my build, so I've got this little dock here. I've got a table and seating area over on this side. And then I've got a little spot to sit amongst the birch trees over to the right. I've kept all the planting outside of the greenhouse itself to a colour scheme of red, white and green, so that way when you look inside the greenhouse, where I've used lots of other colours including purples and oranges and blue, it really makes it pop. For continuity, here inside the greenhouse, I've kept to the same pathway we have outside. And as you can see, I've got lots of different flowers in here. I've got them planted in little garden beds, in some larger pots, and then in some smaller pots, and this adds a lot of variety. You can see I've also got lots of different heights of flowers, and I've hung some of these glowberries from the roof. Not only does it give it an extra lush feel, but it provides a little bit of illumination. To go along with this illumination, I've got some lanterns hanging from the ceiling as well as placed on the ground, and if we look outside the build you can see I've placed lanterns on walls throughout my garden so it has a nice inviting feel. So now you've built a beautiful greenhouse cottage. If you'd like to see more videos like this one, please consider subscribing and check out my Patreon to support me further. I'd really appreciate it. See you in another video!